look as if it's going to be fast, it's going to be furious, and you know, Alaphilippe looking to possibly do something here.
27.5 k's to go. We're approaching the start of the climb now. I can tell you Vandenberg is out the back, as is the rider we saw there, Juraj Sagan. Once you've been away at the commercial break, Michael Mørkøv really set things up for Quick-Step. And look at this, Ramon Singledan out of the game, one man less for Arnaud Démare. Julian Alaphilippe is very, very up for this today. He wants to make his mark on Paris-Nice. Oh, and goodbye to Dylan Groenewegen. That's the first of the answers that we were asking for today.
Yeah, it's been expected, that's what we're talking about. It was going to be hard enough to distance the likes of Dylan Groenewegen right at the bottom of the climb. He's been distanced with many other riders. Stana looking interested in keeping this tempo very high, but also up towards the front you can also see in the red and the white Tim Wellens.
And look at Arnaud Démare, he's hanging on. He's in 12th position at the minute from this long shot away, not looking too out of problems. There's Ian Stannard, who certainly is. He's dropped off the back of things for Team Sky. 85, who was with him, was Markel Irisa, who should have been on the sofa watching from home, but he was called in at the last minute to replace a sick teammate.
But we're going to be swinging right soon and onto the main part of the climb. All this damage has been done before we hit the main part of the climb. So we swing right now, and then it drags all the way up, twists and turns all the way up to the top of the climb. Here we turn right now, and then over the top of the climb we do not have a descent until we get to the sprint.
Yeah, the climb continues to the intermediate sprint. There's a little bit of false flat. Look at this from Astana. Are they trying to set up Magnus Kort here? Michael Valgren? What's going on?
I think it will. Now we're on the climb, and we can see 4.6 kilometres length, average 4.7. It remains 4.7. They want to make it as difficult as possible. Omar Frelli is now setting a very difficult tempo. Good stage win in the Giro d'Italia last year, but there's still a large peloton. They want to make it as difficult as possible because it suits Magnus Kort Nielsen in the finish. So that's what they're trying to do. But it's going to be interesting to see if anybody actually goes over the top of the climb, because a good strong group could actually go to the finish. So interesting things happening now.
Bye Bouhanni. Nasser Bouhanni, the latest to lose contact, as the pace is absolutely infernal up here. Omar Fraile, the rider from the Basque Country in the light blue there, really doing some damage, and look at them at the bottom of the screen. All strung out. We've got problems in the meantime for one of the Sky Riders.
Lopez giving his wheel up there.
David Lopez, it must be a leader involved.
Yep.
Is this Wout Poels? It looks quite like the frame of Wout Poels, tall guy. Let's see if we can have a look. Yeah, it is Wout Poels. Oh dear, oh dear. It never rains, but it pours for Team Sky.
Oh, this is going to be very difficult because the race is on. Very difficult for him to come back now, but you know, well spotted and straight to the front. Still putting on the pressure with Quick-Step floors is Dries Devenijn. So Dries Devenijn's Alaphilippe in second wheel, but you can see just a little bit further back, a lot of riders out the saddle. People really on the rivet, as they say at the moment.
Well, it had the opportunity, there was the chance of something happening, and Quick-Step and Astana decided that today should be the day to make it happen. Look at Tim Wellens as well there, third wheel, looking really good in the red and white for Lotto Soudal. Also just behind Dylan Teuns for BMC Racing in the black and red too. And there are gaps appearing all the time, and Arnaud Démare is finally slipping. Arnaud Démare in the yellow jersey finally slipping. Not good news either for Tom Jelte-Slagter, who, remember, once upon a time was a candidate to win this race. Look at this, it's splitting all over the place.
There he goes, Alaphilippe, and that's what it was set up for. He wants to put distance into some of his rivals. You see Jonas Aguirre trying to go with him, Willems, Teuns, and
Jean, I think it might be behind.
I'm not too sure this is enough riders to go all the way to the finish, but it's certainly splitting things up, and Alaphilippe flying up this climb.
Julian Alaphilippe then, who sits in a very good position. He's been been taking bonus seconds over the first couple of days. He's 10 seconds off the lead of Arnaud Démare, but Arnaud Démare out of the equation for now, although holding on fairly well compared to the rate in which he was sitting a moment ago.
It's time to come back, it's time to regroup, but over the top of the climb, and I'm afraid...
He's no mates with him though, has he?
Alaphilippe, 25 kilometres to go. Tim Wellens trying to go with him. He's another man on form, but Alaphilippe going this far out, he must feel super strong. He's in kind of home territory, they say, today, but still a long way to go. There could be a general regrouping. A lot of these riders just behind are looking behind and going back to the group behind, but Wellens and Alaphilippe will find it difficult to stay away this distance from the finish.
There's Thiago Machado towards the back. Just in front of him, you can see Ian Boswell's there as well. 2-1-3.
They've been called back.
Julien Alfaez there.
Called back. Sky calling the riders back as they can see this drifting out now with so many good riders on the attack now, and Will Paul's being distanced because of that puncture. They're pulling riders back to help out.
And you can see the Spanish national champions involved as well. Jesus Herrada's there.
I tell you what, Robin, what that's going to do, if Wout Poels is punctured, he's going to pass riders and they're going to latch on. So Sky are going to bring some riders back to the front of this race.
Julien Alaphilippe, the Frenchman, in the blue. Tim Wellens, the Belgian, in the red and white. There's Roman Kreuziger, Czech rider, in the yellow and black. Just looking around to see where his teammates are. Sergio Now, the defending champion, is still in this group for Team Sky. Luis Leon Sanchez is there for Astana as well. It's a group of no more than 15 riders. Movement, counter-attack time. Now, is this Calmergen? Looks like it could well be. There's Luis Leon Sanchez. Yonis Aguirre in fourth place there for Bahrain. Bauke Mollema just behind him too in the red. Dutch rider from Trek Segafredo. Are they going to ride together? Are they going to keep attacking each other behind? That's the question. I think they're gaining now. They're gaining.
Very difficult to ride with Alaphilippe at the moment. He's flying up this climb. He asked for help from Wellens. Wellens just looks at him and going, you know, you're absolutely flying up here, super motivated, and you know, Wellens just doing a good job hanging on to the wheel of Alaphilippe.
And that's all he can do at the minute. There's Luis Leon Sanchez trying to go behind. Oh, and finally he's lost contact. Finally, Arnaud Démare has lost contact. I'll tell you what, that has been a super fight from this man, though, considering when all the other sprinters went.
Well, he's not too far from the top now. You can just see the leaders at 500 metres to go, and Démare must be about 1 kilometre down, but he does have some riders behind wanting to come back, including Will Paul, so there will be a bit of regroupment and over the top of this climb. But as we said, once we get over the top of this climb, it doesn't go downhill, it keeps on going. Still a bonus sprint with 22 kilometres to go, 3:2 and 1 seconds.
Well, this is Paris at its very open attacking best. Julien Alaphilippe had all the team work hard for him at the start of this climb. He's trying to finish the job for them, but he's still 23.8 kilometres from home.
Looks like Fulsang trying to come across now. A lot of riders are looking behind. They think it's, you know, they're at the limit at the moment. They're looking to try and stay strength in numbers at the moment. But, yeah, Alaphilippe has flown up here and really put the cat amongst the pigeons, as they say.
Over a minute now to Arnaud Démare, the yellow jersey, so unless something changes on the way down, we will have a new leader, but still 23.6 k's to go. Descent among that as well, but Démare continues to slip and slide. There's Oliver Naassen who goes past him. 33 there is Dries Devenijns, and this is his teammate Julien Alaphilippe, the Frenchman.
Just over the top of the climb now, Alaphilippe takes maximum points. Wellens and Fulsang, I don't think they're worried about the points at the moment. They're going to push on, but tell you what, Fulsang has made the junction at the right time.
Yep, Jakob Fulsang, the winner of the Dauphiné last year. There's Matteo Trentin, by the way, the latest sprinter to be dropped. Trentin at the back in the black and yellow. 83 here on our screen now is Koen de Kort. And this is the, let's say, the select group chasing those four in the lead.
Well, I don't think it's quite 4 at the moment.
There's a couple of breaks behind, you're right. You imagine that there's some sort of group that's going to come together once we get to the top here at the sprint.
But the thing is, it's getting an organised chase, and by doing this, it's meant that a lot of the leaders now have been pressured now into riding, and riding their own race. They can't afford to look behind and have teammates work for them. They have to do it for themselves. So it's exposed a lot of riders, and they have to commit. It looks like Galopan is second from the back there. Luis Leon Sanchez is also there.
And Soler has made it
with a white jersey.
young rider. So 106, Alaphilippe, Fulsang and Wellens. Wellens, remember, the winner of the Vuelta a Andalucía. So Alaphilippe at the front. We spoke to him before the start today. Let's hear quickly what he had to say.
It's an important stage where we might have quite a lot of important changes in the overall standings. We've got to try and stay very concentrated, and we've either got to concentrate on putting effort in for Elia Viviani, if he can do the sprint, or for me, because I think it's going to be a small group fight it out for the win. I'm going to try and gain some time and really try something today.
Tried something, gained time. The minute, trying to coax others into doing some work.
Yeah, but the thing is, Alaphilippe went up there at a rate of knots. He put a lot of people in the red, including this man here, gasping for breath. But he's in a good place at the moment, a good chance still to come back. The stage is not out the window, because who's going to ride in front? We've already seen a little bit of descent from Jon Izagirre. He's made an effort. He didn't want to work with Alaphilippe, and that's the trouble you sometimes get. As soon as you've shown everybody how strong you are, people might not want to work with you. And as we see already, with Jon Izagirre not willing to ride, this second group is going to make it up to the front group just before this sprint.
Yep, just a couple of seconds now. Lilian Canmajan had made it across as well. If it all comes back together as Izagirre looks around, Canmajan now at the front in the yellow and black. Tim Wellens on the left-hand side, look out for him. 1 minute back to Arnaud Démare.
And the thing is, it's going to be really important. This sprint is coming up 3, 2 and 1, and then they'll look at this. But this is the front of the race. Many individual riders, many GC contenders. Will they ride with each other? Will they attack each other? As we said earlier on, this could go anywhere. And this man on the left-hand side in the blues lit this race up completely.
Well, Julien Alaphilippe, this time last year, was anxious to show what he was made of. Remember, he's had knee injury problems in the past. He had a brilliant end of the year last year.
This is, I think, the third group in the road. There's another group in front as the yellow jerseys trying to kind of hang on to that. I believe there will be a general regroupment, but we won't have to wait. We did say that if a strong enough group goes away, if they do work with each other, they can go to the finish, but it doesn't really look as if they want to work with each other. Alaphilippe wants to try and guarantee, well, as soon as we turn left here and start heading out this village here, then we'll hit the sprint, and it looks like as if Trek Segafredo's Mollema is coming across this gap, more and more riders coming across the gap, but nobody willing to work with each other.
Fulsang has another dig. Just accelerates. Nobody at the minute biting. Not too far away from the intermediate sprint at the moment.
Unfortunately for Fulsang, he lost some time in the crash in the first stage, so he's down there in the general classification. So that's why he's been given a little bit of rope at the moment.
He's at 1 minute and 51 from the overall lead of Arnaud Démare. Where's that leaving Porami compared to everybody else? Well, Julien Alaphilippe was 1:41 down on it. Canmajan coming. 1K to go to the sprint. Looks as though Mitchelton Scott's the team that's going to bring this back, or at least attempt to do. 20.2 kilometres to go. Jakob Fulsang in the turquoise. He's being chased down behind. A minute all the way back to Arnaud Démare, the yellow jersey, but we've still got a lot of descent to go here. Today's stage could still throw up anything towards the finish. What we won't have is the huge bunch sprint that maybe some predicted when the route came out. try to get across from Borohan Screw-up.
Well, this is the yellow jersey group making contact with the group in front. So the third group in the road now joining the second group in the road, and they're coming up to 1 kilometre to go to the sprint.
Interesting to see how all this pans out. There's the group of favourites behind. Sergio now, defending champion, is in there for Sky. Haven't seen too much of Wout Poels behind, but I know you have the whole team of him. You imagine he's in this next group on the road.
Yeah, you think that they've got Sergio Henao in this front group, and Wout Poels will actually be helping groups to come back up. I don't think he's even with the yellow jersey group, so there's still an opportunity if he is behind the yellow jersey group. If he comes forward, and the Sky Riders, they could actually help Arnaud Demar come back to the front of this race.
Interesting to see who Demar can get help and lean on. All coming back just before the sprint here now. There's a now on the left-hand side, being followed up by Zaguirre. This is Full Sang at the front. Look at Full Sang taking points. I think that was Kreuziger on the left-hand side at the Les Brossons. Kreuziger now the former Czech champion. This is the current leader. Arnaud Demar. Just in front of him is Matti Breschel. For EF Drapac, 83 there is Koen de Koort. And there's Arnaud Demar. He's looking in some form, isn't he? Again, movement at the front of the race. Remy Di Gregorio, been around for a long time. Riding for Delco Marseille at the moment. He's at 1 minute and 12 from the overall lead of Arnaud Demar.
Yeah, he has to take his opportunity. When you look around this front group, it's full of kind of GC contenders, and you know, he's an experienced rider. But this is the main peloton. We're calling it the yellow jersey group, going through the sprint point. So it's only a matter of less than 1 minute. I think it's closer to about 30-40 seconds.
Interesting to see how this goes now. There's certainly still a car in there, the neutral service car.
But they're not willing to work with each other, and that's what I was saying about De Gregorio's experience. He's looked around, thought these GC contenders are not going to help each other. An opportunity to attack here. Still 18.4 kilometres to go, and I believe that now the second group in the road, because the second and third have joined with each other, will catch this front group. If some riders want to take this opportunity to go down the road and try and chase this stage win, as we see another couple of riders trying to come across to De Gregorio, but there's still enough time for the peloton behind to get organised and bring this down to a sprint, because as soon as we get outside this village, it goes down quite quickly. In fact, when we get halfway down this climb, it comes onto a main road which is very fast.
There is Remy Di Gregorio. He's about to get company. He's 32 now. Picked up his first victory in 4 years when he had stage 2 of the Tour La Provence. There's Luis Leon Sanchez, who was in that break, remember, with Alejandro Valverde in Valencia. Magnus Kort as well there. Look at that, second wheel. And he's in a perfect position. The man from Direct Energie, by the way, is Jonathan Hiver, fastest finisher. It's an interesting little group. 12 seconds on those behind. A minute still on the yellow jersey.
Yes, indeed, and not everybody wants to do work here. Borohan's going to do a bit of work as we go back to the group just behind, and I think it's only a matter of time before this main group, the yellow jersey group, makes contact with the group in front. But all of a sudden you see the kilometres tick down, but Luis Leon Sanchez, we've seen him doing this so many times before. He's an absolute motor at this point of the race.
Looking very good, as he already was in the Spanish races about a month ago.
It's very quick descent now. We go through this village and it continues to go downhill. The only concern I have looking at the course this morning is the amount of speed bumps on the road on the way down. You see just over one now, but very fast. But we will see a general regroupment, but I'd like to know where Wout Poels and Team Sky are at the moment, because I believe they're still behind the yellow jersey group.
Daniel Martin's still in this group, as is Alexis Vouillamos as well. That's Max Soler. Both Izaguirre brothers are there, and Julien Alaphilippe towards the back alongside Lilian Calmejean. 16.2 kilometers to go. In the meantime, three leaders, Sanchez, Yver, Di Gregorio. And Di Gregorio's first win, actually, as a professional, came in Paris-Nice, stage 7. That was 7 years ago now. He's had many an up and down since then. Second group on the road from the helicopter. Talking about 15 seconds now between those two. I mean 30 odd seconds back to the yellow jersey from that group. Let's see if we can see them come into shot. Still too far away. Approaching the final 15 kilometers of Paris-Nice stage 3. On the way to a first ever finish in Châtel-Gouillon. We've had an explosive climb for the final climb of the day.
Just looking down on this descent, Rob, as we pan out to see the kind of front group. There are 3 riders in front, and that's Sanchez, Yver and Di Gregorio. And as we see the second group on the road, they're looking behind. They're just about to be joined by the Sky-led group. So Wout Poels has made it into the yellow jersey group. So Sky are dragging this race all back together now. As we see the leaders, have they got enough to kind of hang on with Luis Leon Sanchez in there? You would think so. He's done this so many times in the past, but still a very difficult final 15 kilometres.
32 seconds. We've already talked about the riders in form, haven't we, this year? We talked about Jonathan Yver on day 1. There he is in that breakaway, already picking up 2 wins and an overall in Oval this year. Di Gregorio, first win in 4 years. He's in form. He won in the south of France. And Luis Leon Sanchez, we saw how good he was when we saw him in the Tour of Valencia a month ago.
Well, Sky are dragging this big group up. It really depends who's in this group. We know that Demar's here. You know, what other sprinters have made it here, so it's going to be very difficult for these riders to stay away. This is the left-hand turn onto the fast part of the course, a better surface now. I'll tell you what, Luis Leon Sanchez is absolutely ripping it down this descent, and it gets very steep towards the bottom.
Well, his mates are struggling to hold on here. That surface will be a welcome change to the very heavy stuff that they've had for the last 10 kilometres or so. This is the second group, 30 seconds back. And Astana. The team actually has been saved, by the way, so the financial worries have gone away for the moment. Kazakh Interior Ministry has stepped in to save them. For Luis Leon Sanchez, trying to add to his 35 career wins. The first one this year was his home race, Vuelta Murcia. He's from the southeast Spanish region.
Also looks as if the pink jerseys are towards the front of the peloton as well now. The yellow jersey group of EF Drapac trying to bring back their riders as well. So there's a few teams willing to ride on the front. And when we got off this very fast part of the descent, you see Magnus Cort Nielsen, you know, really wants to get that motorbike out of the way. He's happy with Luis Leon Sanchez in that front group. But it does look as if the Sky-led second group, yellow jersey group, on the fastest part of this descent are going to make it across to the front group with Alaphilippe. But I tell you what a final look this is producing, what a finale it's producing. It's still not over yet.
Now we've got that turn into Volvic, the town where the water's from. This is Alaphilippe. It's worth remembering that Luis Leon Sanchez was an overall winner of Paris-Nice in 2009. He's won 4 stages down the years. He likes this race.
Yeah, we're back off the descent now. We've turned left. You know, the second group are just about to turn left now. But Luis Leon Sanchez is heading his way towards Volvic. They'll be turning left there. It rises up a little bit, but I'm not too sure he's getting any help from you know, the riders he's with at the moment. But possibly they might be able to help him as soon as he starts to slow down a little bit.
Or motorbikes being pulled out from behind this particular group. This group that has swelled now.
Well, Alaphilippe is really interested here, but he's not going to get any help at all from you know, the Astana riders behind. But there's still an opportunity for that climb just before the finish. We've already seen it for Alaphilippe to try something on there, because the sprinters teams will be limited in numbers. You can just see the Sky-led group bringing Will Palms back to the front of this race. So it does look as if 3 riders are going to be in front by a matter of about 40 seconds. They still have time to bring it all back as Luis Leon Sanchez starts to swing left here, and we're starting to head up this last climb.
Magnus Kort behind there, the Danish rider riding for Luis Leon Sanchez Astana team, telling the motorbike to get out of the way, stop helping the French rider at the front bring this back, because think a little further ahead as well. Luis Leon Sanchez, all right, doesn't climb as well as he used to do, but he'd be primed to take the yellow jersey here, and we're talking about Paris-Nice. An easier Paris-Nice in terms of the uphill finish. Time trial tomorrow. Luis Leon Sanchez could be an overall contender as well as the stage here today.
Yeah, that's why they're not right for the stage, because Magnus Kort Nelson is a good shout for the stage. So, you know, a very dangerous rider, and that's why Gorka Izagirre in the left and Jon Izagirre have started to ride. They realise, you know, these Spanish riders know each other, and they know they don't want to give Luis Leon Sanchez any time whatsoever.
We're hearing 40 seconds now between the 3 leaders and the group on the left. Those 2 groups are about to come together. The yellow jersey group is about to reach group number 2. Everything still happening. Finally, there's someone else to take a turn. It's the rider from Direct Energy. Pardon me, Brian.
The thing about this part of the course is it's twisty, it's turny, very difficult to get chase organised. It does lend itself to these 3 riders in front. If they all ride together, and Luis Leon Sanchez is only looking for, as you said, he's looking at time. Di Gregorio will try and play a little bit cagey, because he'll know Hiver is the fastest of the finishers of the 3 riders. But it really depends now, these 2 groups come together, who's going to come up and chase, because they need to do it now.
Couple of Astana riders coming to the front, just trying to slow things down. They'll be being screamed at on the radio to do just that, because 47 seconds up the road is Luis Leon Sanchez, the 2009 winner of Paris-Nice. He's joined by 2 other riders, a former stage winner in Remy Di Gregorio, very experienced rider for Delco Marseille Provence, and another man with him, the man at the back here in the black and yellow, Jonathan Hiver, French rider, fastish finisher, certainly fast compared to the other 2 in this group at the end.
But the thing is, there's no major obstacles now. You've got another descent back onto the main road, and then we get that kind of tailwind we've already seen about 5 kilometres ago. So if some teams don't come up and start chasing, this man could be taking some serious time in the overall. The other riders thinking more of the stage, and Direct Energy with Hiver would love to have that stage. Same with Delco Marseille, with Di Gregorio. So the riders in the peloton really have to get organised, and I think Mitchelton Scots are one of the teams that would want to try and do something, because I believe that they don't want to give Luis Leon Sanchez any time whatsoever, but I believe that they also have Trentin back in the fold now.
Roman Kreuziger chasing at the front. Direct Energy is another team that might want to disrupt things here. Lilian Calmejean and Sylvain Chavanel moving towards the front. Interesting, that first group of 3, Hiver you were talking about then, is the only man out of the 3 not to have won a stage of Paris-Nice, and here we go. Katusha Alpecin don't like this, and they're going to chase with Thiago Machado.
Well, you can just look behind. Kreuziger was riding there, and then we see Machado coming up, and it's just a sea of you know, Astana jerseys and Direct Energy jerseys just behind. There's nobody getting organised, and all the time they're starting to gain time. It's 56 seconds now, 7.1 kilometres to go. Very difficult to get organised in this type of route. It's left, right through towns, and it's not going to be until we get off this 75 kilometres to go that they're going to get organised. That might be too late.
Well, he's won some races in his time, hasn't he, Luis Leon Sanchez? He's already 20 days into his season. He started earlier this year. Remember, he's won the Classica San Sebastian on a couple of occasions. He's the man at the front here in the turquoise jersey, the Spaniard. He's a 4-time stage winner at the Tour de France. He's a 4-time national time trial champion. He's won the Tour Down Under overall. He's won this Paris-Nice in 4 stages as well. Tour of the Med too. He's been a quality bike rider.
Yeah, just who's willing to take it up. Machado has come up to the front after Kreuziger, but as soon as Machado came up, Kreuziger decided it wasn't for him. You know, these riders are riding their hearts out here. They want to try and stay away. France want to give themselves an opportunity here with Hivert and De Gregorio. Luis Leon Sanchez just thinking purely of gaining some time. Interesting now, we're starting to see Lotto Soudal there. So as Andy Greipel made it, this is possibly his last chance of a victory here in this year's Paris-Nice, and put a rider towards the front.
Yep. Most probably the last opportunity for most of the sprinters. 6.3 kilometres to go.
They're back onto this main road now, and it's tailwind, so it's going to be very difficult to bring them back. Then we get to the next roundabout, swing left and up that small drag, but 56 seconds, and one rider from Lotto Soudal, he's not going to bring back a lot of time. It's going to need a concerted effort. Unless we get a concerted effort from the riders behind, these riders are riding for the stage win.
Luis Leon Sanchez has his mates helping out behind. Brian, for those viewers switching on maybe for the first time, wondering why his teammates are hanging at the front, how do they disrupt the chase?
Well, they make it, when it's strung out like this, you've got, you know, Lotto Soudal with two riders, one rider from AG2R, and then you've got three riders from Astana. So when you're riding at this speed, you have to pass the Astana riders to join the chase at the front, and that's a big effort to be able to do that. And it's all about, you know, trying to limits the effort of the teams behind as they swing onto this tailwind section. The three Astana riders know that this is a big opportunity for Luis Leon Sanchez, number 96, second place, to gain time and some GC rivals. You know, as we said before, it's all about you know, timing, the right time, gaining some time, and the peloton all strung out. You can just see Perichon, the king of the mountains, just hanging in the back. I'm not too sure if Crellier will be in there, and it does look as if he might be maintaining that jersey for Direct Energy. But the question is, can he win the stage with Hivert?
Yellow Alice is giving everything at the front for Lotto Soudal, former of Gent-Wevelgem. Dwarfstor Vlaanderen, pardon me, I should say. Big effort. Lotto Soudal will have their man further back, surely. Andre Greipel, 3 kilometres to go. This is that left turn now, and this is where the road starts to go uphill again. 53 seconds as Arnaud Démare is close to the front of the chasing group.
Well, that went very quickly there from 6 to 3, and we're going to turn left there up this drag, and we're starting to see more of an effort from some of these teams, but I think it's a little bit too late.
Age de Zella Mondial, they're trying to bring this back. They're thinking of just the time that Luis Leon Sanchez is taking on Tony Galopin. Luis Leon Sanchez in the centre is the man who stands to gain the most in terms of the overall general picture, the fight for the yellow jersey. As this stands, the man at the front on the right-hand side will be moving into the yellow jersey at the end of today. He has 53 seconds of an advantage on Arnaud Démare, but there's also a stage win up for grabs between the front three. Nicolas Hédé dropped off the back. We're 2.2 kilometres from the line. 54 seconds for the group of three leading this stage 3 of Paris-Nice 2018. Heading for a first ever finish in Châtel-Gouillon. Now, the two behind are going to try and save a bit of energy, you imagine, here as Luis Leon Sanchez presses on.
Yeah, both De Gregorio and Hivert are thinking of the stage. Luis Leon Sanchez, he can't get, he's experienced enough, he can't be, you know, worry about these two riders behind either. He just has to ride on the front for the final couple of kilometres and forget about, you know, the two riders behind, or try and put the pressure on in the hardest part of the drag now to try and get rid of them. But I think it's going to be very difficult to get rid of them. 50 seconds now with 2 kilometres to go. Does look as if the French are going to have the day again.
Jonathan Hivert on this end. Oh, Di Gregorio. Rémi Di Gregorio.
He knows that. The French riders know each other, but Luis Leon Sanchez is bringing them back, so he had to try and do something, because if we get to the finish, Hiver has got a good sprint.
Jonathan Hiver here at the back, now into his 30s as well, 13 victories in his career. Remember, he's won one World Tour race so far in his career. We mentioned it the other day, a stage of the Tour de Normandie quite a few years ago. A Paris-Nice stage win would be something very, very special in his career indeed.
One thing they can't do is mess about, and Luis Leon Sanchez at the front now has to keep the pressure on, because this gap is coming down all the time, and it's coming down to close to 30 odd seconds now. Hiver just kind of hanging in there. He knows if he gets over the top of this climb, but they can't keep messing around. But Di Gregorio knows that Hiver is the fastest of finishers, and it's between him and Hiver, the man in front, who gets this stage win, because I think Luis Leon Sanchez is just giving it his all at the moment. They're over the hardest part of this climb. They can see the kilometre to go, but will they start messing around, because this peloton is still closing in.
Omar Fraile moving to the front to try and disrupt the chase as well, but there's too many men interested behind now to slow things down too much. They're coming up to the 1 kilometre to go mark, and Di Gregorio is going to have another dig. On the right hand side, the man from Delcourt Marseille Provence. Remember, they're looking for their first ever win in Paris-Nice as a team.
Yeah, but the problem is Luis Leon Sanchez, he can't give up. He flicked the elbow there, trying to get Hiver. Hiver's gone, no, you're my man, I want to win this stage. But Gregorio's getting, what, 20-30 metres, and Hiver just playing the waiting game, thinking that Luis Leon Sanchez is going to go all the way to the line and take me to this stage victory.
Luis Leon Sanchez needs the time. He needs every single second. Today is the day he's got away. Tomorrow's the day he could even increase his lead in the time trial. It's going to be a yellow jersey, we think, for Luis Leon Sanchez, but who is going to take the stage? That is the big question here.
I think Hiver has played a really good game here. Di Gregorio knows that he's the fastest sprinter, and knew that he had to give an attack before the finish, but it looks as if Direct Energy have got their stage win here.
Luis Leon Sanchez then at the front. We're coming up to the final 300 metres. Luis Leon Sanchez in the turquoise. It's Hiver behind in the black and yellow, the Frenchman. His compatriot Rémi Di Gregorio, who hasn't won a Paris-Nice stage since his very first pro rim 4 years ago. And here goes Hiver. Hiver sets off in search of his first ever Paris-Nice win. Direct Energy are going to get it. It's going to be Hiver. It's going to be easy. Jonathan Hiver with win number 4 of the season. Wow. Super win for Jonathan Hiver. He takes stage 3 at Paris-Nice, and unless there's a time miracle here in the next few seconds, it's going to be Luis Leon Sanchez who will be the new wearer of the yellow jersey, the leader's jersey at this Paris-Nice. It's the sprint for 4th place in the meantime. You can see with just 300, 250, 200 to go now. Trentin on the right hand side. Demar who overtakes him. Demar looking so strong here. Andre Greipel is gaining as well. It's Demar in the yellow jersey. Greipel on the left in the red. Demar has it by a canter, and Demar will take 4th place. It looked like it could have been Edward Turns behind him as well. On the left-hand side, we had Andre Greipel in the red. So stage goes to Jonathan Hiver. Direct Energy have their win, and Luis Leon Sanchez has the yellow jersey. So a former winner putting the yellow jersey back on. We said it was a stage where anything could happen. GC guys had to be alert. In the end, Brian, were they alert enough?
No, it was an opportunity. They couldn't chase everything, but you know, what an intelligent.
Just 7 kilometres away from the entry to the final circuit. 19 k's long. pass through the finish line that once. We'll have a third category climb, the Côte de la Marquise. That will be the fourth and final categorised climb of the day, but it's lumpy throughout the circuit. There's an intermediate sprint at Sisteron as well. It's a circuit that's been used in many different races before when they've come to Sisteron. Tim de Klerk is giving his all here. Big battle to bring the gap back. So 6Ks to go until we go across the finish line for the first time. Nicolas Hédé and his three breakaway companions are hanging on by 3 minutes and 7 seconds at the moment. Those breakaway companions in the blue is Julien Elfaes, local rider from France. In the black and yellow, Jérôme Cousin, who'll be wearing the King of the Mountains jersey at the end of the day. And Niels Pollitt in the red, who just turned 24 this week, the young German star from Cologne. Former national champion at under 23 level, both time trial and road. He can ride, and we've seen him in breaks and attacks in the classics in the last few years as well. There's the graphical confirmation of what I've just told you. Chasing behind, still just two teams. Lotto Soudal with 2 men chasing, Quick Step with 2 men chasing, Andre Greipel, Elia Viviani. At the minute, the sprinters putting their hands up and saying, we'll have a go, Brian.
Just that Lars Bak had kind of disappeared from the front now, because I think he'd come up and he'd already done his job. So that leaves only the Gent there for Lotto Soudal, de Klerk and Lampert for Quick Step. And you got to remember, at the start of the stage, when these 4 riders went down the road, Groupama put the riders on the front to keep the gap down. Okay, they took it easy. And I think, you know, with 3 riders chasing, looking at Tim de Klerk, so it looks like Tim de Klerk, who's done a lot of riding with Lars Bak, is gone now as well. So it leaves only Thomas de Gent and Lampard. So I think that you have to commit maybe a couple of more riders, and maybe Lotto Soudal and Quick Step could be talking to some of the other teams. They might be putting all their heart into this and want to try and stay away.
Well, for those of you wondering about Nasseb Wani, he's there, but of course he's not going to chase his own teammate in the break, so hence the reason Cofidis aren't going to start working. Just saw a little image in that last shot, Brian, on the left-hand side as we looked at it, the big figure of Tim de Klerk drifting all the way back through the back of the peloton. He was shouting at a few of his teammates on the way through. There was a couple of looks around from blue jerseys. It obviously wasn't
everybody, especially sprinters and the rouleurs, were a little bit worried about the start, depending how hard the race was. And luckily they got over it, and we came off the climb, and it was Lars Bak and Tim de Klerk that did the first part of the riding. They've disappeared. Lampard came up, and we were kind of speculating. It was 4 minutes with about 35 kilometres to go, and I said they need to commit more riders, and they have. But unfortunately the chase has been so fierce that Tim de Klerk and Lars Bak have gone back into the peloton, and I think the time now is to commit possibly 1 or 2 more riders to the front again, because this gap will start to come down a little less. Okay, Thomas de Gent and Yves Lampert are 2 very strong riders, but there's another couple of strong sprinters. This could be the last chance. Arnaud Demar is already committed. From the start of this race, he's already won a stage. He would love to win another one. He's in the green jersey. But let's not forget Mitchelton Scott with Matteo Trentin sprinting well. Not had the best of luck, but in this kind of smaller sprinting group, he could have his chance today, especially with the climbs nearer the finish.
22.2 kilometres to go. 2 minutes and 41 is the gap. There's Niels Pollitt, the big frame in this group. Connected to Alpecin for a couple of years now. Developing well. Which I'm sure we'll see him in the cobbled races in the next few weeks.
Also the trouble here now, we just come onto the main road back in towards town, and the way the wind has been blowing at the moment, it's actually been helping. And most of the stage has actually been a bit of a tailwind. You can just see Sisteron in the distance there, on the hill, crested on the hill, and these riders have got a bit of a tailwind now as they start heading in towards the first passage of the finishing line.
Tim de Klerk is back. He's found something, and he is back.
Cracked the whip.
And he's got help. Lotto Soudal and Quick-Step still working hard, as is Jérôme Cousin, the man in the breakaway.
Yeah, looked as if Lars Bak is coming back to, it was just maybe, Thomas again going to the front, maybe a couple of hard turns, and sometimes, you kill the chase a little bit, so they've obviously been told to kind of slow down a wee bit, or maybe Lars Bak and Tim de Klerk have gone back to the peloton and asked for a little bit of help from their own team, and maybe other teams have said no, so decided back up to the front. It's their job, and the gap's still coming down.
I told you it was pretty. Sisteron on the way as another bike race returns. We're inside what will be the final 2 kilometers. First passage of the finish line coming up. This group continues to work well, and its only chance really. Has to keep putting its turns, has to keep working hard, but it's going to be difficult when they get to the climbs here, Brian, because there's going to be different levels of tiredness, different levels of ability, different levels of ambition in the breakaway as well. How long do they keep it together?
Well, I think that is the question, Rob, because there's 3 Frenchmen in the breakaway. One of the strongest riders seems to be Cousin. He's taken the King of the Mountains jersey, but has he used a bit of energy? On this type of course, Niels Pollitt from Katusha, strong rider, and if they keep together, they have a chance. If they start breaking up on this climb, chasing some more of these points for the King of the Mountain competition, they could lose half a minute, 40 seconds quite easily. So I think the peloton have got the measure of the breakaway for the moment in time. I think they've settled to Lotto Soudal and Quick-Step Floors are the teams riding out the front of the peloton, and I think they went back, maybe asked for a little bit of help. They get no help whatsoever, so back to the front. This gap is coming down. This breakaway has been away all day, starting to get a little bit tired, but they've got some extra motivation coming through the finish for the first time.
Lots of people here waiting in Sisteron on a circuit that is a very nice one indeed, and we've seen it a few times in cycling before. It's on this circuit that Luis Leon Sanchez won in 2012. As Yves Lampaert comes back to the front again. Still just the 2 men again at the front once more. So de Klerk disappearing, Thomas de Gent disappearing with him. Ian Stannard in the white jersey bringing up a few of the Sky Riders to the front, among them Sergio Luis Henao and David de la Cruz. There's the yellow jersey, Luis Leon Sanchez. Still just the two men. Maybe playing a bit of a game of poker here.
Yeah, it looks as if Lars Bak is being replaced by still 2 very strong riders at the front of the peloton. It's going to be near to 2 minutes as they come through with 19 kilometres now.
19 Ks to go. Jérôme Cousin in the black and yellow. There's the bell. 1 lap of this circuit and it'll all be over. All of that pain, all of that suffering. But will it end with one of these 4 raising their arms in victory? It's going to be tense, it's going to be tight. Do not move. Road to start a climb quite quickly again. I'll tell you that the categorized part of the climb here tops out with 13 kilometers to go. Côte de la Marquise. The climb itself is 1.3 kilometers long at 6.4%. After that, there's an intermediate sprint with 9 kilometers to go. Just looking around to see where riders are, how they form. There's Julien Alaphilippe as Sky again move up with Pouls and Henao. Diego Rosa at the front for them. On the left-hand side, Tim de Klerk returns. A lot of toing and throwing for at the front here, Brian.
Yeah, he's got a few lives, and he's using them today. And he goes back into the group, gets his breath again, and comes back. But I think they're in control for the moment in time. Okay, the rule of thumb is 1 minute for every 10 kilometres, but this finishing circuit here in Cisteron is somewhat difficult with these two climbs, one of them being categorised, and I think they will lose a little bit of time on that. But yeah, it's still in the balance. These four riders still doing a very good job as the peloton start to come within sight of our finish here, and it'll be around about just under 2 minutes, I think, by the time they finish. They come through the finishing area.
You can tell which bit of the Citadel is north facing, can't you? Snow-capped on one side. Arnaud Demar nice and close to the front. He has Ignatius Konovalovas in front of him. The Movistar riders moving up as well. There's Przemek Kasperkiewicz, who we saw in the break as well, looking after a couple of his riders. Delio Fernandez there for them. Ian Stannard on the left-hand side in the white jersey. And Luis Leon Sanchez in the yellow being looked after in the centre by Astana. 1 minute and 56 seconds the gap then as they come through the line. 17 kilometres to go. About 2 kilometres difference on the road between them.
The difference there, just in sight of the finish, the sprinters teams were nowhere to be seen. It was all about the GC contenders. They're a little bit worried about this finishing circuit, and I think the sprinters teams have decided to kind of kick back a little bit and hold fingers crossed for them that the GC contenders will be wanting to stay near the front, and that increases the speed of the peloton and possibly will eat into the advantage of these four riders in front. But it's still in the balance. 16.5 kilometres to go and still 2 minutes here.
Warren Barguil sighted in the centre of that shot. There's Elia Viviani as well. Alexander Kristoff, who told us he's feeling better as Niels Pollitt goes on the attack. And a look round. No, I don't want to chase him. Shall you chase him? And this could be dangerous.
Yeah, he's a strong rider. We've already said this, good time trialist as well. The three French riders were, I think, a little bit stunned by that. They'll communicate with each other, but I don't think this is the thing to do with this attack now. He realised that possibly the three French riders are starting to weaken a little bit, but by attacking here, I don't think it's going to help them to stay away.
Niels Pollitt, who as an amateur still was second only to Tony Martin in the German National Time Trial Championships in 2015. That season he also finished 6th overall at the Bayern Rundfahrt, the Tour of Bavaria. That impressed the Katusha Alpecin management. And he signed from Team Stölting on a 2-year deal. Since extended, and is a mightily strong rider. Start of the climb then, goes uphill, 1.4 kilometres. 6% is the average gradient. And Niels Pollitt calculated his effort to go for the end. Can Katusha Alpecin take their first win of the week here? This is a big effort. And this, remember, would be his biggest result as a professional. We've already talked about his results as an amateur there. Success in the German championships at under 23 and senior level. We all know his quality, but you and I have been talking about this, haven't we, earlier this week in the car about young riders stepping up. The difference between under 23 and World Tour level, it's a giant leap, isn't it?
It is indeed, and it's not always the person that wins at under 23 that makes the best professional rider. And I think Niels Pollitt has shown that. He's coming through the ranks, he's learned his apprenticeship, he's got stronger and stronger. He really likes the early season races and a lot of the classics, and he stands a good chance here. He's on his own, obviously he's not going to get any help, but you can just see the body mannerisms of these French riders. They don't look as if they want to kind of help each other. They're not totally committing. I think the gap will go up for Pollitt, but it's whether it's going to be enough to kind of hold on over these couple of climbs in the circuit here.
Yeah, there was that sense of shock, wasn't there, when he sprung away there, the 24-year-old from Cologne. Look around, shake of the head. Well, you chase him. No, I'll chase him. No, you chase him. And nobody wanted to decide. It's that little bit of hesitation that might well cost them. They continue to ride on, but how committed are they? Again, a lot of looking around. Drifting from one side of the road to the other. He's close to the top of the climb here now, is Pollitt. 1.3 kilometres long. 6.4% the average. He's still got another 800 metres or so to go to the top. Now, what's the difference on the road here?
Yeah, I think that's what the French riders were waiting on. They're waiting on this climb and trying to, leave their other French companions to try and go across to Pollitt. I think it'll be a big ask because Pollitt is riding very well, but the strongest in King of the Mountains so far has been the Direct Energy rider. As you see on the left-hand side, you see Arnaud Demar's team of Groupama eventually coming up to the front. But is it going to be too late?
Alexander Kristoff obviously feels a little better as well because he's brought up towards the front too. There is Dan Martin not too far away, and now Sky take control with Diego Rosa. So that's the change. It's changing, isn't it? GC teams, sprint teams, GC teams, sprint teams again.
Well, because it's narrow roads, the GC teams will come up, and I think that's what the sprinters were, hoping for. That's why the big chase, very narrow, that the GC riders would come up. And who knows if Alaphilippe is feeling good here.
He's about fourth wheel there, wasn't he? All on his own, but waiting.
This is the type of climb that will suit him, and if he does what he did a couple of days ago, and there's a good chance that this front of this race or the peloton could explode here again.
Well, he's alongside Wout Poels, who's second wheels here, and I tell you what, the yellow jersey has to be careful. Slipping and sliding the yellow jersey of Luis Leon Sanchez into about 20th position at the minute, as you start to look at the back, and Michael Valgren's been distanced. 20 seconds, by the way, for Niels Pollitt over the three other French riders behind him.
Yeah, just see Diego Rosa riding a very hard tempo here. He wants to stop any attacks coming from behind. Dan Martin also up there in the red helmet for UAE. So most of the GC contenders are up here, but Niels Pollitt a little bit further up the climb. It tops out at 13 kilometres, and behind they're starting to attack to try and get up to him.
Jérôme Cousin on the chase. He's left behind El Faiz, who's the least advanced of the four. Just in front of him, Nicolas Aidé. So Cousin is motoring along here. Has the neutral service car in his sights. Oh, and he's going to have Pollitt in his sights soon. Niels Pollitt then, travelling himself, but Cousin at a greater speed of knots.
Yeah, he's been riding strong today. He's already got the King of the Mountains at the end of today's stage, and he wants to double up in the stage wins for Direct Energy as well, make it a fantastic day. So he's been climbing very well. He's puffing and panting now, but he'll make the junction with Pollitt very soon. Just about to go over the top in the next few hundred metres, but he won't be touched in that competition, the King of the Mountains. He's thinking more of the stage as well.
Jérôme Cousin then on the right-hand side as we look at it. Straight into the slipstream of Niels Pollitt. Now, is he going to stay with him? Is he going to go straight past him? Pollitt looks around, sees he has company. The German on the left-hand side in the red, the Frenchman there in the black and yellow. They're approaching the top of the climb. It's going to be maximum points for Jérôme Cousin yet again. He will take the Bogenot jersey at the end of the day, but will he take a stage win with it? The gap back towards the yellow jersey in the peloton is 1 minute 9 seconds. Brian Smith, what's going to happen here?
Well, I tell you what, it's still very much in the balance because the UCI, the general classification riders are still riding at the front. It really depends on where the sprinters are. But this is a hard climb. We're not over it yet. We're going to go over and down the other side, and then we go up another 900-metre climb. So Cousin made a big effort there. They'll be suffering for it now. This gap is going to come down very, very quickly. If the sprinters are still there, you can just see Demar starting to struggle. On the left-hand side, Henrik Hausler has been distanced with a bit of a crash there. But Konovalovas is trying to keep Demar in it. If they can get over the top and this gap is coming down and they keep Demar there, we don't know where Greip was, we don't know where Viviani is, but further up, David de la Cruz is hurting a lot of the riders back in the main group now.
Well, first it was Diego Rosa, now it's David de la Cruz with Wout Poels and Sergio Luis now behind him. Better positioning this time from Astana and Luis Leon Sanchez right on the wheel of his main rival. Interesting that Julien Alaphilippe drifted a little there as well. He's been really well paced. 1 minute we're talking now. 1 minute to the rest of the jerseys. I wonder where Matteo Trentin is in that as well. He's a man who we've been waiting for all week. We caught up with him at the start of the day. Let's hear from Matteo Trentin. Will he be involved in just a few minutes' time?
Giorno dopo giorno devo dire sto sempre meglio, quindi vediamo oggi.
Day by day,
sarà l'ultima possibilità per i velocisti.
feeling better in
domani
this
un po'
race.
sarà solamente tappe dure, quindi
Today's going to be the last chance of the sprint at the mountain, so I think it's probably going to be a sprint today. Well, at least I hope it's going to be a sprint today.
Well, will it be a sprint today? There's some left, but we're just seeing that Arnaud Démare has been distanced again.
Yeah, we still got a small climb to come. I think he will make it back. It's not a matter from the back of the peloton. You just see another group of 4 riders, and just behind, it's only a matter of 15-20 seconds. But the GC contenders were kind of sat up a little bit. This gap is not going to come down very, very quickly now. There's no reason why Sky or Astana or NG teams would want to bring these riders back. So it's still looking good for Paula or Kazan for the moment.
Who's going to work? Narrow roads these as well, tight circuit, sort of thing that's going to benefit these guys for now. All of that snow still on the side of the road too. Approaching 10Ks to go. Niels Pollitt and Jérôme Cousin with an advance of about 15 seconds on the 2 riders they dropped not so long ago, with 57 seconds on Luis Leon Sanchez's yellow jersey group. This is Nicolas Hédé. In the break at the start of the day, the 4th man, Julien Elfaez. Oh, and Cousin's going again. Cousin to attack once more as it goes uphill. It's the sprint. At the minute, Niels Pollitt looks to be reacting well.
Yeah, he's looking strong, but Cousin, no, this is a big opportunity. This is the drag up. It's only about 900 metres, and with only 700 metres to go to this sprint, I don't think they're worried about this. We had one sprint already today. Pollitt took that from Elfaez, from Hédé, but Cousin thinking of the stage win more than anything now.
Jérôme Cousin, who won a stage of the Étoile de Bessèges back in 2013. No more professional victories for him since then. He's 28 now. He's certainly going to be on the podium at the end of the day as the wearer of the King of the Mountains jersey. Look out for Pollitt here. Right hand side, 1 minute and 1 second. They're 500 metres away from the sprint. It's more of a climb than a sprint, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long drag up of 900 metres, 5.8%. But if they can get over this, they're in with a chance, because I don't think there's a lot of time for the peloton to get organised behind. And just when we thought it was going to be a sprint today, in fact, you know, this morning, was it going to be the breakaways at Nord with only 4 riders in the breakaway? And then after the climbs, the major climbs of the day, the first category climbs, the team of Lotto Soudal came to the front, quick step floors, but you know, with just over 1 minute now within sight of the top of this last climb, i.e. sprint, it does look good, but that's a team that we've been talking about. You just heard from them. Matter Trentin is just over there, as you say, in the left-hand side there, and Jo Jensen is trying hard, but I think it might be a little bit too late. They have to commit numbers, and I don't think they're committing numbers.
Okay, so they're looking after GC ambitions on 2 fronts as well, with Simon Yates and Esteban Chavez, who both went really well in the time trial yesterday.
But I don't think it'll really hurt the team to ride, you know, commit 2 or 3 riders, especially Trentin is there, and try and help him at least. But yes, all in for the general classification, and it doesn't look as if there are many riders there from Quick Step Floors and the other team that was riding, Lotto Soudal.
No, but there are riders from Astana for Magnus Cort, but principally they'll be looking after Luis Leon Sanchez. Matteo Trentin there as Niels Pollitt flicks his on.
They can't mess around here. Cousin and Pollitt cannot mess around, otherwise they will be caught. 49, 50 seconds now. If they start messing around, they will be caught.
8.7 kilometres to go. They still have to descend a little from where they've just had that intermediate sprint back into Sisteron. And this is what it looks like with Roman Kreuziger now joining the chase at the front.
Yeah, this is what they need to do, and you know, I know Kreuziger is you know, is one of the linchpins on the kind of Simon Yates, Chavez, but you know, nice to see. It's not going to damage them too much by committing a rider like Kreuziger. And the other teams, Démare has made it in. You see the green jersey is there coming through the sprint. So if they want it to be a sprint, and we've already seen Cousin not willing to help Niels Pollitt in the front, and if they start messing around, which I think they will, then it could come down to a sprint. But they need to get up to the front and start riding.
There's so much at stake for both of these riders.
Look, shaking of the head, what's he doing? He should just ride with them and bring it down. They're going to get caught 42 seconds. You can't hang around here. And Cousin trying to do a heave air, and it's not going to work today.
But they're not used to being in this position, these two. They've never won on the World Tour, neither of them, and there's only one pro win between them. So you can maybe forgive a little of the messing around.
I'm not forgiving anything. Cousin is experienced enough. You can forgive maybe a little bit of Pollitt, but he's got the sports director in his ear. You can see Astana, Omar Freley and Magnus Scott just tightening up his shoes. I know they're looking for the yellow jersey, but come out a couple of riders, bring them back, bring it to a sprint and try and get the stage win, because Cousin and Direct Energy, and I think it's maybe just a little bit of experience from Neil Pollitt, but both of them are tired, but no excuses. They should just settle their differences and help each other.
Well, Pollitt trying to motor away on the descent. Difficult place to do it, however. Cousin behind, holding on as Pollitt pedals away, head down there. 42 seconds with 7 kilometers to go. Cousin waits. He'll have the confidence in his team of already having won a stage this week through Jonathan Yver. Again shakes his hand. Come on, come and do a turn. Cousin is not interested, is not bothered. Oh, and it's playing with Pollitt's mind.
It is, and he's still a young rider, and it will play with his mind a lot. And as you see, you've got a rider from Quick-Step Floors has come up, and that's Dries Devenins. So Dries Devenins and Kreuziger, they can pull this back.
Where are we going with this one? Just over 6 kilometers to go. Pollitt in the red, Cousin there in the black and yellow. Both of them in the breakaway since the very start today. The two survivors of the quartet that were away. They're back onto the circuit. They're 6Ks from the finish. Could this be a breakaway win? 43 seconds on the yellow jersey group, led by Luis Leon Sanchez. Chasing behind, we have riders from Quick-Step, riders from Mitchelton Scott. Not much else, however.
Yeah, 42 seconds. You can see they're taking the cars out the gap now. This gap is coming down. They still have an opportunity, but as soon as we come down to this main road, the other riders of Demar's team and maybe Lotto Soudal, they'll throw the riders towards the front, and this gap of 40 seconds can disintegrate very quickly.
Mitchelton Scott have just pulled Roman Kreuziger away from the front momentarily. They were working for Matteo Trentin. What's happened there? 5.5 kilometers. 45 seconds we're hearing on the race radio, 42 on the graphic there with Dries Devenins, the man working at the front. If you're the yellow jersey here, Luis Leon Sanchez, what's the order of the day? Just get home safe?
I'd give Magnus Scott a go here. You can see Direct Energy coming up there, trying to play around there. Don't play around with the other pro bike riders at this stage. This is still in the balance now, and you know, these two riders can't stay away. But I'm afraid that Cousin not giving everything into the effort here. But I think you'll get a mad rush into Sisteron as we come onto this main road. There'll be more riders moving up to the front to help this chase out, I would suspect.
Yep, more room, wider roads. Proper surface again. The mind games continue. Pollitt not happy. He's certainly got under the German skin, has the 28-year-old Frenchman.
They're putting Direct Energy on the nicest thing to do, putting riders up towards the front. Just keep out of the way, allow the sprinters team to do what they can. You can just see Christoph is there after having a very difficult couple of days, but looking a bit better. But who knows, 40 seconds could evaporate very, very quickly if they mess around. We've already seen them messing around, but it does look as if Jerome Cousin is starting to do a little bit more. Matt Heyman is towards the back. Maybe he can get up and try and help out a little.
Well, what is he going to do? Does he realise as well that over the next few days he's going to have a lot of work to do for his GC guys? That's maybe in the back of some teams' minds.
Here comes Yelly Wallis, and you know, this is starting to get you know, nip and tuck now, with more of the teams committing riders. And as we sweep down towards the run-in towards Sisteron, these two riders will be aided with a bit more of a tailwind, so it's not going to be a very difficult run-in for them. What's going to make it difficult is if they combine together, they're still in with a chance, because the team with any sprinter in their midst is going to be throwing riders towards the front into this chase.
It's a bizarre sport, isn't it, sometimes cycling? Work together to then fight against each other.
Yeah, well, they seem to be working a little bit more better now. Kozan has maybe had the words, but the one thing that you don't really do is get involved behind and push and shove and sit there second and third place. But Wale's trying hard. Yves Lampard looking behind now. It's only two riders. They're leaving this very, very late, and I know that Graipo's here. Why didn't they just put one more rider towards the front and just nip this in the bud, bring them back? But as we say, we always want to see the breakaway succeed. Now I want to see Niels Pollitt win this because
Kozan's done nothing, has he?
He's ridden well, but just as he looked behind, flicked his elbow as if Kozan come round. Kozan is playing a game now, and it may hurt them in the end.
Less than 3 kilometers to go, and UAE Emirates now belatedly puts on firepower to the front. They have Alexander Kristoff on antibiotics and back. He's held, he's climbed with the best today, and he's ready for a sprint. But will it be a sprint? Still 34 seconds of an advantage for Pollitt and Kozan. Pollitt doing all the work here at the front. Jérôme Kozan will be the most unpopular bike rider on the planet, I think, if he wins this today.
Well, a win's a win, no matter what. But you know, obviously, it might not be the best way to do it. And you know, if I was sports director, I'd probably do the same thing, and many other sports directors would probably say the same thing.
Of course, it's part of the game, isn't it? But he's the villain of the piece, there's no doubt about that.
Exactly, and you know, Pollitt is there with them, but you just see Mitchelton Scott coming up now a little bit. Matt Hayman's got himself up there. Jules Jensen, they still have an opportunity of bringing it back, but it's getting very, very tight.
26 seconds with 2.2 kilometers to go. A look behind from Kozan. 25 seconds, 2Ks, and they're going to go through that side. 24, they're hemorrhaging seconds at the minute, and another look round from Pollitt. Oh, no. You can't do this, guys. It's giving away the advantage.
Yeah, it's nail-bite stuff now, and Kozan's still not playing game. He's given a half-hearted effort there as we start to pan out, and the peloton have really got them in their sights now, and that will give them big motivation.
This smells of heartbreak in the last few hundred meters. What's going to happen here? Several teams now riding at the front. Oh, an attack from Niels Pollitt. Does he have it to get rid of Jérôme Kozan, who's outclimbed everyone else in the breakaway today, and he's fighting to hang on here, and I think he's in the slipstream. Kozan still hanging on as Pollitt goes again, but there's nothing else to give there. 18 seconds, 1.4 kilometers to go, and Pollitt just can't shake him.
No, he can't, and he made the big effort to get across him on the climb, and since then they've been playing some games that this is still in the balance.
Pantano now at the front.
16 seconds. I don't think this is going to be enough for the breakaway now.
Pantano for John Degenkolb. Last kilometre with 15 seconds of an advantage. Niels Pollitt, the 24-year-old German in the red, who has never won a professional bike race after excelling at under 23 level. Just one win in the professional career of Jérôme Kozan behind him so far, but that came a good 6 years ago and a long, long way off this level. Astana then at the front. Well, can Magnus Cort do it? You could just see Arnaud Démare was moving up in the green jersey as well, in about 15th to 20th position. Look out for the yellow jersey of Luis Leon Sanchez. He just wants to get over the line and keep his lead. Oh, we've riders down. We've several riders down on the left-hand side. One from Mitchelton Scott, we've got one from Cofidis, a rider against the tree and the barrier, thankfully just getting up there. The rider from Mitchelton Scott looked a little worrying in the meantime. The finish, Niels Pollitt approaching the final 350 metres. Behind him, Jérôme Kozan. There it is, 300 to go. How's it going to go? Are they going to be relieving? Well, I think they're going to take it. They are going to take it. It's going to be somebody from the breakaway. Jérôme Kozan on the left-hand side as we look at it. Kozan's got it. Pollitt is out of gas, and it's going to be Jérôme Kozan who is going to take it from the breakaway. Smart tactics, you might say, unpopular in other circles, but it's a huge win for Jérôme Kozan, who wins on the World Tour for the first time. Pollitt is second, Greipel is third, and I'm afraid we've had a nasty-looking crash behind, and somebody from Mitchelton Scott didn't look in a great way. Well, that had action. And that was a very, very well thought out finish. Hard lines to Niels Pollitt, but he's going to learn a big lesson there. He's been done by Jérôme Cousin in the break from the start of the day, and it is a second win of the week on the World Tour for Direct Energie, and that is quite some Paris-Nice for a second division team.
Yeah, hats off to them. They used very good tactics the other day with Hiver, Cousin today. It wasn't to everybody's advantage there. Niels Pollitt, I think, decided that he wasn't going to be caught by the peloton. Second is better than nowhere in the stage, and he was the rider that pushed on and pretty much gifted Cousin that win. But second division French team in this Paris-Nice, having 2 wins, they'll take that no matter what tactics they played out in the end. But yeah, it was very well played. Maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but Niels Pollitt the loser, but I think he's gained a few hearts.
Looks as though Warren Barguil was caught up in that crash behind.
It was a nasty one. There was a tree there. There was a barrier just in front of the tree, but did look as if there was one of the Mitchelton Scotch riders heavily involved there.
So much so that one of their riders actually stopped behind and looked quite concerned. We'll wait to see if we can get any information on that. It was Kevin Le Danois, the former under-23 world champion, alongside Warren Barguil there. Finish on the day looks like this, with Jérôme Cousin winning the stage from the breakaway. Niels Pollitt 2 seconds behind. The peloton at just 4 seconds. André Greipel, Magnus Kort, Christophe Laporte, Trentin, Turnison, Breschel and de Kort. Beautiful system with a very, very entertaining stage.
Well, you can just see behind the sprint was won by André Greipel, but Matteo Trentin was there, and I've just seen Chavez finish as well, so we'll wait to see who was involved with this crash. The Direct Energie rider was 207, Chulik. He was involved with the crash, just coming across the line now. Well,
this is seen over the Alps as the sun sets on another day at Paris-Nice. Riders coming across all the time, those who were dropped early on. Ramon Sinkeldam and Ignatius Konovalovas there. There's Marc Elirissa behind. All coming over 3 minutes down.
Cofidis rider involved was Bert van Leeberger as well, just coming across the finishing line due to this crash.
We're hearing from the team that it may well have been Esteban Chavez who went down in the crash, but has finished.
Yes, he's finished and he looked okay.
Well, that's relatively good news, certainly from the image that we were looking at. We're off for a quick break, and then we'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to Sisteron, and we have just witnessed this man, Jérôme Cousin, riding himself both into the polka dot jersey and also picking up the stage win. The second stage win for Direct Energie at Paris-Nice 2018. And a first win for Jérôme Cousin for 1,852 days. That's a pretty remarkable statistic when you think about it. Let's hear what he had to say afterwards.
Par moment, je vais dire à 25 km de l'arrivée, j'ai l'impression que vous aviez un peu mal au canne.
Well, we could see 25 kilometers from the finish that you looked as though you were in quite a lot of pain. How did you manage to get through? Well, it was a very, very hard day. My goal for the day was to be involved in the breakaway. I made a lot of effort to pick up those points in the King of the Mountains category, and then after that I realised that when we got over that last climb that I had a chance, and so I just managed to hold on. I was thinking that maybe that it would just be the King of the Mountains points I'd pick up today and not the stage win, but then as I got closer and closer to the line, I started to think about that stage win, so it was absolutely brilliant. Well, you really played cat and mouse towards the end, didn't you, with Pollitt, and I didn't like winning in that way, but I was pretty exhausted from all of the effort I'd expended already, so when you've always finished second or third,